your favorite? Who did you get? When will I be remembered? Was it ever? Where did all go? Why do we know? Oh, forget it. Soren, Billy, Daniel O'Brien, two best friends and comedy writers. If there's an answer, they're gonna find it. I think you'll have a great time here. I think you'll have a great time here.
So, hello again and welcome to another episode of Quick Question with Soren and Daniel, the podcast where two best friends and comedy writers ask each other questions and give each other answers. I am one half of that podcast, senior writer for Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, author of How to Fight Presidents, and no longer fast runner, now distance runner Daniel O'Brien, joined as always by my co-host, Mr. Soren Bowie. Soren, say hello.
Hello, everybody.
Also, Soren, I'm still very fast. Go on.
I'm Soren Bowie. I'm a writer for American Dad, and I have one of my intentions of the new year is to start doing leg day.
I was always under the impression that I didn't have to do leg day because I run so much.
Right.
And I also do squats.
Yeah.
Incorporated into my other workouts. Does that count as enough leg?
No, it turns out no.
Shit.
I mean, it depends on what you're going for. But like I was running like 14 miles a week, maybe 16. And I was like, and I do these plyometric things where I'm like, I'm jumping into these lunges, you know, like I'm trying to think how to describe it. Like you're touching a knee to the ground each time and you're doing like alternating jumps.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is a lot of leg stuff. Like my upper body is heavy enough that it counts. And then I went and did a leg day and I couldn't walk for 2 days.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. It means that there's like, I'm not trying to listen. If you don't lift and you hear about like somebody lifting, you're like, well, why are you trying to bulk that up? That's not what's happening. So it's so hard to make a muscle.
Also, first of all, if you don't lift, why are you listening to this podcast?
Yeah,
what are you doing to yourself?
I just wanted stronger legs, and I started doing. So the very first day in, I did. God, maybe this is alienating. I did like deadlifts and I did squats, just like normal like big leg workouts, lunges, and I was at the end. I was like, okay, I hope that was enough. And then the next 2 days, like it was a real problem in my life trying to get around. I was not mobile. Even sitting down hurt because my butt was so painful too. My glutes were so painful. And then 2 days later, after the workout, I was like, okay, I should get back into my run schedule. And I went outside to go run to the gym and got about 50 feet and had to go home because I was like, it's too painful to run. I can't do it.
Man.
Yeah.
That's and this is just like a thing that you what motivated this?
Yeah. Vanity, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I assumed there was usually at the heart of any kind of change in your life is some benefit to your family. Like you were trying to launch one of your kids in the sky and couldn't do it as high as you wanted. And then you realized I need to strengthen my legs at the sacrifice of everything else so I can throw my son onto the roof.
This is vanity, but like vanity in like the most childish form. This is not like vanity like I want bigger legs, like I'll have a bunch more sex. It was, I realized I couldn't jump as high anymore. And I was like, but jumping is who I am.
I know, that's huge for you.
My identity, that's all my showing off involves some form of jumping. And I got to get back into form. So there I am.
Thanks to Rocket Money for supporting our podcast, Quick Question. Rocket Money will quickly and easily identify your subscriptions for you, so you can stop paying for the ones you don't want. Stop throwing your money away, cancel unwanted subscriptions, and manage your expenses the easy way by going to rocketmoney.com/QQ. Speaking of showing off, we'll get into the show in a second, but our friends Brian and Nick Britannic, they have a podcast, and one of the recent episodes they were talking about how Brian McElhaney, who was an accomplished juggler and clown,
I heard of
is trying to he's working with a trainer to set a record for longest juggling of pins.
Yeah.
How long do you think? Because the record that he's going for is something in the 3 to 5 hour range, I believe. I don't have the number in front
north
of
of that. It's like 5:30 or something like that.
It's 5:30? Okay.
Yeah.
So I both of the numbers were correct.
Yeah.
Just as the order that I struggle with. And it made me curious how, because I don't know, juggling seems like the kind of thing that if you could do it forever. I was shocked that the world record was so low to begin with. So I'm curious to hear from you as a juggler.
Yeah.
Like how long do you think you could just juggle? Doesn't need to be pins because I know that's a different art than the juggling that you do.
Hearing him talk about it, I realized, it starts to get painful. For him, it's with the pins. He said his hands really started to hurt after like half an hour. And I was like, oh yeah, I guess that totally makes sense. Like your wrists and everything. I think that where I juggle, I like juggle kind of out in front of me, but it's enough that like, same as if I have my hands up just a little bit from my body, eventually they will fall asleep.
Yeah.
And I think that would start to really weigh on me. And then, I think as far as like the motion itself, if it's just like oranges or beanbags or something like that, I could go indefinitely if I don't run into these other problems. But I think that's where you like get into trouble is you're like, the focus is there. That's fine. You can like even look at other people while you're juggling generally. Because you're so used to the motion. But there's these things you don't think about. Like, I think I'm pretty confident my hands would just fall asleep. I bet my shoulders would get very tired. Just holding your arms out in front of you for that long a period of time.
Yeah, I feel like you would lose like dexterity in your hands. Is that what you mean by falling asleep? Like just numb a little bit? Yeah, I feel like that would knock you right out.
I don't totally understand it. I guess you could learn to juggle pins way down at your waist. Like you're running, basically, you know, like the way your arms move when you run. Mm-hmm. That's comfortable. That doesn't, by the end of a run, you're not like, oh, fuck my arms.
Yeah.
So I guess if you could figure that out, you could do it. But it's too much. My kids, by the way, so deeply unimpressed with my juggling.
Have they tried it? Do they understand how difficult it is?
Well, everything's hard for them. So like, they're just like,
they can't even vote.
They don't get it. It's the same with like doing magic for like a 2-year-old or a 1-year-old. They're like, yeah, man, the world's magic. I that's no different than anything else I've seen. Yeah, I probably do have coins in my ear. They don't care. I juggle for them frequently. And they're just not into it. My daughter, the only thing my daughter is really impressed by now is when I do the escalator behind the kitchen island. Mm-hmm. Where like I step onto an escalator and then go down the escalator. And every single time she crawls up on the counter and looks on the other side.
Yeah.
I
get that.
Did I forget that we had another floor and there's a little conveyor belt that leads there?
I guess I'm always fascinated by records because for things that I have no real like conception of. And even things that I do have a conception of that I it's almost always not as long as I imagine it would be. How long do you think is the record for duration in the dead hang position? That's grab a pull-up bar or any horizontal bar and just I'm telling our audience, I know you know, and just hang on it like they would have you do in gym class if you couldn't do pull-ups. Just hang on the bar for a certain amount of time. What do you think the world record is for that?
Like 10 minutes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's 80 minutes.
Oh, really?
I thought I was gonna find out it was like days.
No.
I thought I was gonna find out there was some guy in a village who dedicated his life to this, and the whole town comes out, and they're like, he's gonna set the record. I'm gonna feed him snacks and give him Gatorade, and someone's gonna be on call to like wash him and empty his pee and poop bucket.
Right.
Because this is like our whole town's thing. So like the fact that it's 80 minutes, that someone could bang it out in an afternoon and no one has touched that was very surprising to me.
That's tough footage to watch. If you're like, you work at Guinness and you've got to figure out if somebody actually did do it, you got to sit there and watch someone for 80 minutes and make sure there's no cuts in that.
And this specifically 80 minutes and 41 seconds. So the Guinness person can't even at 80 minutes be like, I'm sure he's got it. I'm positive he's got it. I have to pee so bad.
Yeah, I don't know if there's anything that I could do for long enough that I could ever break a world record. It just doesn't. I think they're all done. I think you
once early in our time together, there was some kind of fitness challenge at work.
Yeah.
And I did not compete in it because I was not on my fitness journey yet. and you were you performed very well in it, and you said at the time that you could hold a plank forever.
Yeah.
Is that
that's a
still
weird
true,
one.
or was that ever true?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I've never tried it forever. I know that when people are always like, "No, that you want to engage your core, like you want to work your core, you plank," and I'm like, "Nah, it doesn't fly for me. It doesn't work." I will sit in a plank. Yeah, I can sit in a plank for a very, 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 very long time, and
Yeah.
by the end of it, be like, there's nothing happening for me. I'm not getting anything from this. And different types of planks. Like there's planks where like your elbows are on the ground and your toes are. There's also ones where like your butt's kind of in the air. You're kind of making an upside down V. Like all of them, they don't really do much for me. I smoked in that competition for that.
I know.
But we did another one which was like a sit-ups competition. Just crunches. But I think it was crunches with your legs in the air. And it was like reaching up, touching your toes and coming back down. And they're like first one to like 90 or something like that. And I was like, okay, great. And I started doing it. And everyone's like yelling at me. Everyone's like, go faster. Come on. Come on. And I'm like, what? And I'm looking around and everyone else's form is dog shit. Like no one is doing this right. But they're going so fast. And I'm like, yes, but I am the only one who's like, I'm the only one getting something from this. So I still think about that. I think about how I totally misunderstood the assignment and thought, no, you're supposed to, this is how you get like your best workout. You're
Right.
going
You
all the
wanted a
way flat.
referee who was counting only good sit-ups.
Right. You go all the way down. You keep your back straight as you come up. They're not flopping your legs around in the air as you're doing it. And you're going all the way up. You touch, and then you come back down as slow as you went up.
Shay and I were doing some kind of plank challenge a few months ago. She found a thing that was like, this will have you in X amount of days, you'll be able to plank for 5 minutes. And we're always looking for fitness things to do together. So she asked if I wanted to do that with her. And I thought, sure. But like, sight unseen, I bet I could hold the plank for fucking 5 minutes right now.
Yeah.
And boy, I was wrong.
Oh,
Boy,
really?
I could not do that. I really assumed the only reason that I haven't done a 5-minute plank before, I assumed was because I got bored and wanted to do something else.
Yeah.
But I think I never completed this challenge because we got distracted and did other stuff instead. I think if I say 2 minutes, I think that's being generous to myself.
That's pretty good though. You know what I think it is? Some of it's genetics too. I think that there's like I used to do that flagpole thing all the time, where I like hold myself up on a flagpole and pretend it's really windy. You know, that's a genetics thing. I think that's just like you have certain areas of your body that are stronger than others, and for whatever reason, through thousands of years, that was the one that I got. My legs, my wrists, they're all dog shit.
Yeah.
But like for whatever reason, my core is just very strong. And I think that's just the lot I was given.
Yeah.
That's my curse, Daniel.
I know. I think no, we don't need to talk to fitness anymore. So I want to get into the show.
Wait,
I have
I do have something important that I want to talk about that right up front because it's the elephant in the room. Daniel.
Yeah.
I want to offer you a huge congratulations on winning another Emmy. My good friend, congratulations. You deserve it. Yay. Before you say anything about awards, you do hard work. You do good work. You're very funny. You make that show what it is with the other people. I understand there's other people involved, but your contribution should not be ignored. You are a value, and that Emmy is yours, and you deserve it.
So I'm pissed off for two reasons. Obviously, one of them is you rightly know that I have a mantra of when compliments come for you, run for the nearest fire escape.
Yeah, run to the woods.
'Cause that way leads madness. So to begin with, compliment corner upsets and bothers me. But second of all, just logistics. I'm reading back the most recent text that I sent you from less than an hour ago, because I knew you wanted to talk about the Emmys. I said, before we get into Emmy stuff, I have a game for Soren to play.
Well, we're allowed to jump around. What if I had just left that hanging?
I figured you would get to it. I knew you were going to do it.
All right.
But I figured you would get to it eventually. It's fine. Thank you very much for saying that.
Let's leave it in the compliment corner. We'll pick it up again in a second.
We'll pick it up again later, yeah. If you're anything like me, you've signed up for subscriptions to change your life and then completely forgot about them almost instantly. Or you joined some random streaming company because it was the only one that was showing French Kiss in the world, and you just had to see French Kiss that night. But then you forgot about your subscription, and it just kept charging you, and because it was on auto charge, you never even noticed the money going away. That's me. Maybe that's you too. Rocket Money was great for me. Rocket Money can go through everything and find all of the subscriptions I didn't realize I have and cancel the ones for me that otherwise, trick me or take up too much of my own time to figure out how to cancel. That's why I love Rocket Money. I checked in with myself to try to guess how many subscriptions I had, and I was way off by a pretty unsettling margin. Rocket Money found all those subscriptions I didn't realize I was still being charged for, and helped cancel those subscriptions for me. The other day I got charged by, I don't want to name them, but a footwear store that I don't ever remember subscribing to, but I probably did. Honestly, I completely forgot about it because it was one of those annual charges and I stopped paying attention to it months ago. I tried to cancel it, and the only way to do it was by calling the store, and then they ask why, and I don't like talking to people in general, and who even wants to be on the phone? So what did I do? Nothing. Rocket Money, on the other hand, was able to take care of it for me easily, and now I'm no longer sending money to a shoe store that I only used once. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills. I can see all of my subscriptions in one place, and if I see something I don't want, I can cancel it with a tap. I never have to get on the phone with customer service ever again. They will even try to get you a refund for the last couple of months of wasted money and negotiate to lower your bills for you by up to 20%. All you have to do is take a picture of your bill, and Rocket Money takes care of the rest. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has helped save its members an average of $720 a year with over $500 million in canceled subscriptions. Stop wasting money on things you don't use. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions by going to rocketmoney.com/QQ. That's rocketmoney.com/QQ. rocketmoney.com/QQ. But now for my just delicious game for you, Soren.
Yes, I'm excited.
This is where I'm going to read you someone's tweet, and they are the tweet will come above a quote, an image, or a video, and you are going to have to guess what the person is tweeting about.
Okay.
And I promise you're not going to be able to nail it. You're trying to find the treasure on Twitter, and because Elon Musk's Twitter is X now, we're going to be calling this game, which I hope to do a lot, Twitter Marks the Spot.
What do you even call a post on Twitter now?
I think it's an X. I think you X on X.
That sucks.
And then you re-X or you quote X. So this, I want to give full context. The tweet comes from a user whose handle is Sargon of Akkad. His name is Carl Benjamin. And to get some things out of the way, he's not a good dude. He's not necessarily a Charlie Kirk or Ben Shapiro level troll, but he is in like that far right trollish provocateur world.
Okay.
But he is, I want to stress this, like, he's not doing a bit. He is a serious person. His bio is Englishman, postmodern, traditionalist, sensible, centrist. I just want you to know that you're not getting into like joke territory or satire territory.
Okay.
Carl Benjamin says, "This is what the world looked like before mass immigration, widespread racial and gendered guilt activism, and before bankers had totally screwed the economy for their own gain. People were just allowed to be themselves, and they did fun, wholesome things for their own sake." And he is quote tweeting a video.
Okay.
That's all I'm going to give you right now. You can ask as many questions as you want. He's quote tweeting a video saying this is what the world looked like before mass immigration, widespread racial and gendered guilt activism, and before bankers had totally screwed the economy for their own gain.
Okay.
People were just allowed to be themselves, and they did fun, wholesome things for their own sake. And the implication is that the video that he is quoted is an example of the fun, wholesome things that people did for their own sake before bankers and woke activism and immigration ruined all that. Soren,
Okay.
what is he talking about?
First of all, I'm swinging for the fences. Is it Balloon Fest 1986?
It is not Balloon Fest 1986.
Oh, no. Oh, that would have been a fun one.
Yeah. Is that the thing that like a bunch of people died from balloons?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was supposed to look very spectacular. On the day when it happened, it did look amazing. And then the aftermath was horrendous. It was like horrifying. Okay. Let's see.
And no, and you could treat it like a 20 questions thing or whatever, where you ask as much.
Yeah. All right. Let's get down to brass tacks. Is this something? Is this something that happened in the last 20 years?
The last 20 years, no.
Okay. Is it something that happened before you and I were born?
No.
Yeah. Okay, good. I like this guy. He's a big dummy. It's recent. Okay. Is it from a movie?
No. Okay. There's so much joy I get knowing that you're never gonna get it. But I want you to keep going because we're
all right. It's not from a movie. Is it footage? It's a video. Is it footage that I would know?
I believe so. Yes.
Okay. Is it all white people in the footage?
No. But he might. No, it's not.
Okay.
I'm trying to think if he might think of it as white people. It's possible.
It's not from a show. Is it from the news?
No.
Interesting. Is it home footage?
No.
Is it something that was televised?
It was on television.
Okay. Is this a ball dropping ceremony?
No.
Oh. It was on television. But it wasn't on the news. Is this a game of some sort?
No.
Okay. Okay, did it happen in the United States?
Sure.
Oh, sure. Oh, okay. So there's maybe multiple occurrences of this.
Well, I don't necessarily know where this was filmed, but I think it's reasonable to assume filmed in the United States.
Okay. Is there any athletics in it at all?
There is a boxing ring in it.
Is there actual boxing happening?
No.
Oh, okay. Is this the fan man?
Fan man?
Yeah, the guy who rode a flying fan into MGM Arena.
I see. No.
Okay, that was pretty cool. Do you know that footage?
Yeah.
Okay, it's a guy who comes into the middle of a boxing match and lands, and instead of everyone being like, "Well, that was amazing," everyone's so angry they fight the guy.
Yeah. Is that one where they got him pretty quickly? Because I live for the moments where like a streaker or some kook runs on stage or on the field for an event of some kind, thinking they're going to get tackled quickly, and then they just don't, and then they don't know what to do.
No,
and they just sort of scamper about like a kid who's pretending he doesn't want to be caught by his crush, and then it's like, oh really? She's not chasing me? Fuck. I guess I should do a speech or something. I wasn't prepared for this much attention.
No, because this guy's attached to a fan that weighs more than him, so he's pretty easy to catch. And I think he's also got a parachute with him and stuff. Okay. There's a boxing ring in it. But there's no athletics. There's some event happening in a boxing ring. I can't think of what this would be.
Okay.
Give me a hint.
I think I'm. Oh, you want a hint?
Yeah.
Okay. One thing that you haven't asked about that will blow this up for you and change the way you're thinking is it is a music video.
Okay. Oh, is it Christina Aguilera?
No.
Oh.
This is what the world looked like before mass immigration, widespread racial and gendered guilt activism, and before bankers had totally screwed the economy for their own gain. People were just allowed to be themselves, and they did fun, wholesome things for their own sake.
Is this, I can't remember if in this video they're in a ring, but there's a cut my life into pieces. This is my last resort. Is it that song?
No, it's not Papa Roach Last Resort.
Oh. What other videos are they in a ring for? It's not Christina Aguilera. It's not that, but it is. Already, I'm pretty excited that it's a music video.
I know.
It's not Bruce Springsteen?
No. That is like... That's almost close to what his point should have been. If what he wants to say is that things were better in the past, and his version of better is white people having fun and doing whatever they want. And it's not a bad guess to assume, if you don't know a lot of the context of what Bruce Springsteen is actually talking about, it's not a bad guess to assume he's talking about a Bruce Springsteen video where people are driving cars and being white at each other in Americana. There's
a Bon Jovi one. There's a Bon Jovi song where he's in a ring.
Is there?
Yeah.
It's not this one. What is this song? I can't. Are you ready for me to tell you?
Yeah, I am.
It is the 2001 music video of the cover "Smooth Criminal" by Alien Ant Farm. Every once in a while, a thing will come across my Twitter feed where you'll see someone saying something, and it's quote tweeted by someone else saying, "I promise you, you're never gonna guess what he's talking about here." And it's such a delight when they're right. And I clicked through. This came across my internet desk from writer and friend Nicole Conlon, who works at The Daily Show. She's very funny. Check her out. She retweeted this, and I was so tickled to find out that he was talking about the music video to "Smooth Criminal"
I didn't
by
even...
Alien Ant Farm. And like every bit of it is delicious. There's the it's a cover of a song.
It's a cover
from a black man. It's a song that came out in 2001,
right,
when things were pretty tough for a lot of folks. I don't know why the year he's choosing to go back to as the good old days happens to be the 9/11 year. It's a song about a woman illegally crossing the border.
Yeah.
It's the front man, I believe. He's, I think, canceled for different reasons at this point. I haven't looked into, but I believe one or both of his parents are like first generation immigrants into the country. And also, it's a stupid fucking music video where a band of weirdos set up a boxing ring in the middle of the street, and there's like definitely like a block party vibe happening in this music video. But a crucial thing to remember is that a music video is not like a reflection of real life. This wasn't a thing we all used to do before banks stepped in and ruined everything. We didn't just like sit on chairs with our pet monkeys in an homage to Michael Jackson, before woke politics
Yeah.
came in and ruined everything.
Sang songs while wearing our Arnett sunglasses.
Right.
It's incredible. Wait. Man, what is...
I really thought this was like, before I brought this to you, I wanted to check to make sure, because I'd never heard of this guy. And I wanted to check to make sure that
This wasn't a joke. Yeah.
it wasn't a joke, or that he wasn't like maximizing Twitter engagement to make a profit of some kind. And I don't believe he's doing that. There are plenty of people in his replies who are like, "Hey man, this is a music video." He's like, "I never said it wasn't a music video." Like, all right.
You're serious. I don't think he also knows that shooting a music video has never been fun for anyone. Like,
Speak on that.
I think that it's always a nightmare to film anything. And to make something look fun on camera is probably the most unfun the worst time you will ever have. Shooting a party scene is a goddamn nightmare. Do you know who Justin Hawkins is?
No.
Lead singer for The Darkness. He talks about he's a podcast, but he talks about shooting music videos and like how that was like one of the main reasons he stopped his career. He was like, I was so sick of making them. Little did I know music videos wouldn't even matter in 4 years after The Darkness died.
Right.
What were you gonna say?
There's I don't know why you needed to explain this to me, because there's a memory that I blocked out from 9 years ago. Our friend of the show, Rachel Bloom, released a music video for one of her songs 9 years ago called the OC Dance.
Yes.
Are you in that?
No, I'm not, but
Okay. Greg Burke and our friend Greg Burke and a bunch of others are in the party scene in this music video, where some of it is like doing the dance that Rachel describes. It's a very funny concept for a video, but for our purposes, involves many takes of us like being in the backyard, having a cookout and dancing and having a good time. And I was there for maybe 4.5 hours, and it was fun for maybe 90 seconds.
Yeah.
It's fun to dance around a little bit with your pals. You're in between setups, making jokes with your friends. But at the end of the day, it's a lot of hurry up and wait while standing outside in the sun, dancing over and over again, and being in the background of someone else dancing. And it's exhausting to look like you're having fun for 4.5 hours.
I mean, you go to a taping of anything, go to a taping of a show, and it's like, your job is to be enthusiastic as an audience. You don't realize how much of a job you have. Like, you're supposed to be loud, trying to sound like you're having a good time or look like you're having a good time for that amount of time, while there's a lot of people just being like, we didn't get it, let's go back.
Yeah.
It's rough. It's really bad. And also, this is just like a peek behind the scenes to people who don't shoot stuff. If you are in a party scene, you have to be fucking silent. You have to be looking like you're having a good time, looking like you're talking, looking like it's a lot of fun, but you have to be quiet. All the noise of a party comes later, because otherwise you're going to fuck up the takes. You can't be talking over or talking at the same time as one of the actors in the scene. So you're supposed to be like, you'll watch actors in the backgrounds of like restaurant scenes and stuff, and you'll watch them like pretending to eat food and like pretending to cut it, but they're not actually even touching the plate, because even the noise on the plate fucks shit up. So like, you can't do any of that. And then you'll watch them drink and then very, very delicately put the glass back on the table. It looks like a bunch of people trying not to wake up a baby.
Yeah.
And that's like what a party's supposed to be.
Oh, I'm glad I got to share this with you. And you're right, there are a million reasons for why this is a strange, one of the most wrong things to choose if what you're going for in your weird far right nonsense trolling is, we used to be a country that did things like this and it was great. It's like, no, we didn't. No, it wasn't. And it has nothing to do with any of the things that you think are problems that ruined it.
We used to make things in this country. That's incredible. Thank you, Dan. Thanks for sharing that with me.
You got it.
Now I'm going to just put your phone down there. I'm going to just take your hand and guide you back over here to the compliment corner. Welcome back, Dan. I want to say congratulations. Now, how many? I know you hate doing this. How many
Yeah.
Emmys is this?
This is 5.
Good Lord. And
I
where
know,
do
it's
they,
too many.
like,
It's certainly too many.
logistically, where do they live?
We've now reached crisis point for me,
Yeah.
which is such a wonderful problem to have, and it's not even a problem because I gave one to my parents.
Mhm.
That was like, this is because Emmys are for parents more than for people. And when I got another one, I gave one to my brother and sister-in-law, and another one gave the other one to my other brother and sister-in-law, and then I got one more, and I was like, I'm out of siblings. I'll keep that in my home and like bring it out if I'm gonna have company, but mostly it would live, away.
And when company comes, it lives in the living room floor, right in the middle, right?
It occupies one of the spots on the couch. I want everyone I want people to know about it and for it to be a problem for them, for it to be inescapable.
Don't move that. Don't move that.
Yeah. And now I have a second one for the home, and I don't. There's like a symmetry and balance issue that I need to sort out at this point.
Well, I mean, good luck with it. But
Thank you, man.
I'm only asking like these types of questions because now I want to get into the brass tacks.
Sure.
Who did you take to this Emmys?
I took my dad, and this was it was very exciting. For all like the evasive maneuvers and self-deprecation I'm going to do, I want to be clear that it's an exciting time. I'm just bad at expressing that, and I'm very grateful for the opportunity. This was longtime listeners know that our category is one that bounces back and forth between the primetime ceremony, which is the one with all the fancy celebrities that you see on television, and the creative arts ceremony, which is home to a lot of the technical awards that you don't see on television because it's not televised. Ours would alternate back and forth in those ceremonies every year, and obviously awards ceremonies are fun and a blast. One of these is slightly cooler than the other one for all the accoutrements that go along with it. The primetime is the cooler ceremony. We went there in 2019. I took my mom. Then 2020, and for some reason they didn't have Emmys in 2020. They didn't have large gatherings of groups of people in an enclosed space. And the year after that was compromised Emmys for the same reason, like a different compromised Emmys. The year after that was we were in the creative arts untelevised ceremony, which I took my brother to, and we were in the nosebleeds for the proper ceremony, which I took you to.
Mm-hmm.
This was to be my second year in the actual primetime ceremony, so I took my dad to it again for balance, because I took mom, took dad, and now I owe my parents nothing. Now
you're square.
We're square. Yeah. And it was good. And it was touch and go for a while because at one point, Fox or the Academy, it was one of their decisions to keep us in creative this year and forever. We would never get a chance to be in primetime again, which was a bummer. But then our union, the Writers Guild, and a bunch of late night hosts, including my wonderful boss, John, got together and told the Academy and Fox, like, this is a bad idea. We should let them be in the ceremony. They've earned it. They work hard. And in this particular year, when writers were on strike for 148 days, it's a particularly bad look to sideline them or hide them. And I like them going to bat for us. They didn't have to, and it worked. Fox and the Academy truly with like 4 days before I was flying out for the creative arts ceremony, we got the dramatic reveal that actually we're bumping you back to prime time. Change all your flights, change all your hotels. So I got to bring my dad to the cool ceremony, which was not a foregone conclusion for this year or any year or ever for the rest of my life. So I was very happy that I got to have him fly business class and stay in a nice hotel and get all dressed up and walk the red carpet and see cool celebrities and have good seats in the proper ceremony. And all of that is a fun gift that I was thrilled that I am stupid lucky enough to share with my dad. And on top of that, we got to win, which is, my self-worth wouldn't have dipped with a loss or anything like that. It's not wrapped up in awards, but it's undeniably more fun to win a thing than to lose a thing and to walk around with a trophy.
Did you sit at a table?
No, it's all theater seating.
Okay. And when you won, who spoke? Sorry,
Sophia
I did
Manfredi.
not watch it. Oh, Sophia spoke.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
great. Okay, cool.
Yes.
That's so exciting, Dan. And your dad had a good time?
He had a great time. He worked in Penn Station for almost 40 years.
So he's used to seeing a lot of people.
He's used to seeing a lot of people, and particularly he's seen like a million celebrities, and he's practically the mayor of Penn Station for years, and he's just like talking to people and helping them out, making sure people are not disturbed and have good seats and are taken care of and everything like that. He's just a man who understands customer service and is not like prone to freaking out around celebrities in a way that like I am. Like I will clam up around famous people, but he will go right up to someone and talk to them and clearly they enjoy chatting with him. There's so many people that I don't want to name drop a ton of celebrities or anything like that, but at one point I was away from my dad for a while just doing my own thing, and I came back and he was like, "Oh good, you're here. Stephen Ewan from Beef and The Walking Dead wants a picture with me." And I don't have my camera. So I was like, all right, I'm going to take a picture. And like, I took a great picture of my dad holding the Emmy and Stephen Ewan holding just a giant sandwich.
Yeah.
And, I had no idea what they talked about because I was away at the time. And I just sight unseen assumed like Stephen was being really nice. And so I leaned into him and I was like, hey, whatever this was, thank you. I really appreciate this. I'm a big fan. My dad's a big fan. This is really, really cool. It's like, no. Talking to your dad was a gift. I love this guy. And I'm like, what the fuck is happening?
What? Either Stephen Ewan is being like super magnanimous, or your dad has a gift.
I think he has a gift. I think he truly has a gift. And I was dragging him down at the fancy Emmy parties.
The minute he got away from you, he was like, all right, finally.
Yeah.
that anchor is away, off of my neck. Wow, that's so exciting. Did you guys go to an HBO party?
We did, yeah. It was at the same place we went when you were there. And there were lots of fancy and cool people around. And I talked to a bunch of people that I wanted to talk to. And had like some conversations that were longer and more in depth than others, and it's certainly easier to talk to people if you have the statue in your hand.
Yeah, totally.
Because you look less like a contest winner,
a plus
which is how
one.
I always feel at these things.
Yeah.
There was one a very famous woman who I don't want to.
Boy, you are so
name drop. Or
it's so
like
tough for you around stars that you even like secondhand stories. You can't even say their names.
I know. Well, I'll explain off mic why I don't want to say this person's name.
Okay.
But I was waiting for the one restroom at the HBO party, and she started to move in front of me, and I said, "Oh, there's someone in there." And then she asked if I was on the line, and I said, "Yes, I am, but you can absolutely go ahead of me because you're much more talented than I am, and I just think you're great. So if you want to go first, you can absolutely go first." And she said, "You're a gentleman. Let's see how much of a gentleman you are. I'm going to take your Emmy and I'm going to take pictures with it." And then she proceeded to take a bunch of pictures with my Emmy and then handed it back to me and then said, "Yes, and I am going to use the bathroom first." And then she went to the bathroom and I talked to her boyfriend for a while and had a nice chat with him. And then it reached a point where he was just like, "She's in there for a really long time. I'm very sorry."
Well, you got all those dresses to deal with.
Sure.
You don't just show up into the Emmys in your jeans. Like, it's tough. It's tough even for guys, but for ladies, it's got to be like you have the under one, and you've got the it's like made of tissue paper or whatever the fuck their dresses are made out of, and then you got to like lift it all up and bunch it in front of you. Yeah, I give her grace. Whoever this is it Grace?
Yeah,
is it Grace? Is it Grace Helbig? Is it Jenna Elfman? No, that's Dharma.
Elfman. That's Dharma.
Is it the other one? Brooke Shields? No, fuck. Who is the?
No, you're trying to get Grace from Will and Grace.
I can do it. I mean, I could Deborah Messing.
Yeah, that's right.
Thank you.
Got it.
It just doesn't work the same as it used to. This old ticker.
No.
That's a heart.
No, you wanted to, but I, this is important insight for people who want to see how comedy minds work in real time. That you heard, you want to give her grace, and then you went, hang on, Grace. That. My brain's going, that word means two things. That's also a name. Is it Grace? Come on, Soren. What Graces do you know? Grace Helbig. All right, we got one out of the way.
Yeah, but not one that would be at the Emmys. I got an internet star. Is that close? Yeah. My first one was Grace Castilla, and I was like, I can't do that one. Like, I don't.
No.
Who's going to know?
So your second one was Jenna Elfman, which is wrong. Like, it's a really fun. A is Grace, C is Jenna Elfman. What could B be? And it's a confusion of that period of time in the 90s when there were two very popular shows that were just the names of two different male and female characters. I see it.
Thank you. You know what? I think that a lot of our friendship is based on that, Dan. Is me being in the proximity of a joke and you being like, oh yeah, I get the work done there.
Yeah.
I mean, here's what it should be. But yeah, I get it. I get where you were going. Yeah. Well, that's exciting.
More of my math tests should have had that level of understanding.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, yeah, this is definitely not the answer, but like, you're trying, and an argument could be made.
Yeah, I see where you went wrong. Other than that one part where you went wrong, everything else is flawless.
Yeah.
That's exciting. I'm glad that you had a good time. I'm glad that you got to talk to you say you talk to the people you want to talk to. I know what that means. It means you had people in mind that you wanted to speak to who were famous, and you bucked up and you did it.
Yes.
And so I'm proud of you in that respect as well.
I feel good about that.
Because I was very impressed by you when we went, and we were in a room, and we ended up in a room alone with Jesse
Armstrong.
Jesse Armstrong. And you were like, you just talked to him. You're like, hey, Jesse, I'm a big fan. I work at Last Week Tonight. And you gave him all the crucial information. You were not fawning. You were you were great. And as a result, like, that became like a real big conversation. And it was so fun. It was so good to see that happen.
It was, but that's, and I also certainly had to like work myself up to it, and not just working up courage or anything like that, but also like working myself to myself to a point where I thought this is okay. I'm allowed to do this. I had to like make a mental checklist of like, well, he's a writer and I'm a writer, and we both work for HBO, and there are some writers who used to be on my show that are now on his show. So there's enough common ground there that I should be able to say something to this very fancy person in a way that I wouldn't strike up a conversation with Robert De Niro or Margot Robbie if I saw them. I would just like, no. We're not supposed to be able to talk to each other. And that's very different than my dad's approach, who can talk to anyone, but not in a way that is fawning or impolite or an imposition. He doesn't have any kind of problem, because he doesn't, I don't think he's as mesmerized with fancy people as I am.
Yeah.
But he could just like, he can say, hey, incredibly famous person, you were great in this one thing. That was awesome. That thing you did in this movie. And then he could just like have a conversation from there, which is a thing that for some reason I don't allow myself to do. And but seeing it in action, when you're like, hey, James Marsden, you're really great. I liked you in this thing. Jury Duty was awesome. And James Marsden is like, yeah, thanks. Hey, I appreciate that. And my brain realizes, oh yeah, you're allowed to say that. And he, in fact, wants you to say that. That's why he's here at the Emmys.
Yeah.
It's for that show that he made that he's proud of. And like, what else are you going to talk to him about? I don't need to sit there and like stare at James Marsden from across a party and think like, okay, he didn't go to New Jersey, so I can't talk to him about that. I've never seen him fish, so I can't talk to him about fishing. He could be a runner. He's in shape, but I don't know. No, I don't fulfill enough requirements to talk to this person.
Can I take a guess at some of the people that you really wanted to talk to? And it might have been at this.
Well, sure. Your first two guesses were Grace Helbig and Jenna Elfman.
Yeah, is
so
that and so were those right?
so 0 for 2.
Okay. So this is this is not only people who would be there, but also people that you specifically would be like, I need to talk to that person.
Mm-hmm.
My first guess is Connie Britton.
I did not see or talk to.
Okay. Would you have wanted to? If you saw Connie Britton there, would you be like, I need to talk to her?
Yes, yeah, 100%.
See, like, I feel like Sydney Sweeney isn't even like on your radar. Sydney Sweeney is somebody to be like, no, I'm not doing it.
Right.
But Connie Britton feels like right in there. Okay.
There was one that was like the top of my list that I thought there's a chance he will be here, either at the ceremony or at the HBO party, because there's if you're famous enough, you can just go to Netflix, Amazon, Disney,
Yeah.
any party you want. That's just the rules are different for you. Thought there's a chance he will be at one of these things, and if so, I will use all of my banked courage and say something to John Mulaney.
Oh, okay.
And he was not there.
Oh.
So I had nothing to do with my banked courage except say hello to Martin Short.
Oh, you talked to Martin Short.
Very briefly.
Wait, so Only Murders in the Building, they get invited to the HBO party. I guess you.
This was
do
at the
whatever you want.
Emmy ceremony he was
at
at.
the ceremony.
Yeah.
Okay, that's so exciting.
We were backstage after our win, and you're not feeling any higher in the whole weekend than at that moment. And then Steve Martin and Martin Short walk by backstage and just like, well, fuck it. I mean, like, I gotta say something right now.
What did you say? What was your opener?
Cena and I both talked to him, and I think Cena spoke to him first and just congratulated him on everything. And I said, well, I'm a big fan. You just have to know I think you're the funniest person in the world. And he just goes, well, like very like diplomatic about it.
Oh, he didn't go, well, I mean, top 5 maybe.
Yeah. No, he was very appreciative and a real class act.
That's so kind of him.
Yeah.
We did that with Paul F. Tompkins once when we saw him, Michael and I like went up.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, it's like, we're just really big fans. Well, didn't say it that way. We're like, hey, we are big fans of yours. We work at Cracked. He's like, I was always a crazy man myself, which is such like a quick,
So good
line that I was like very off put by it. And I was like, oh, I'm out of my league here.
Everyone would say I prefer Mad,
Right,
but it's a true.
but he didn't go there.
It's such a great extra step to pull by name one of the other Mad ripoffs from the 50s.
Yeah, without missing a beat. It is
Yeah.
incredible. Was Nicholas Braun there?
Yes.
He's hard to miss.
Yeah.
He is a very skinny Andre the Giant.
When you get to the governor's ball and you're just looking for the HBO section, he's like the fact that we share space with him and Alexander Skarsgård is like, I don't need to look at the numbers. I know where we are.
Yeah. And they feel like giants in terms of like their talent and like who they are. To walk into a party like we did at the HBO party and to see, give me 1 second.
Come on, man.
Well, I'm just, okay. Is it Zendaya or Zendaya?
It's Zendaya.
Okay. To see Zendaya. Like we walked in and here's this human who is like more than human. Like
Yes.
somebody who's bigger and just better in every single way was like, oh my God, there are literal gods here. And that must be what it's like when you see somebody like Alexander Skarsgård and you're like, oh boy.
She's allowed to be one name, and I don't even correct people when they get my name wrong. Yeah. That's the huge gulf between us.
You don't want to get the name of a god wrong. And so I was like, no. I better get this right. Yeah, well, that's super fun. Did you embarrass yourself at all?
I don't think so. I think I
Did you watch anyone from? Actually, you can't answer this question on here. That's good.
Yeah, I think again I'm so hyper worried about wasting someone's time or feeling like I don't belong there that most conversations don't last too long, And I also realized in the moment, talking to some of these people that I've only known from watching my television and movie screens, is that like I don't have a lot of the same like transition points in conversation. You know, like I want to tamp down the urge to say, so what are you working on now? Because that's such an annoying and very Hollywood question. But
Yeah.
it's also a reasonable thing, and not from a like, what have you done for me lately point of view, but like, I'm curious about your career.
Right.
What are you doing next so I can support it? But I also know like what a cringy question that is, so I don't ask it. But then I also think like, what am I going to say to this person? So where do you live? Oh, here in Hollywood? That's cool,
No, specifically, give me an address.
man. Not me.
No, I think it's a fine question. It's the same. It's like a lesson we learned on the strike lines, which was like, everyone there is for the same. We're all there for the same reason, and it's okay to talk about your jobs and like what you're doing. And so the minute you meet somebody and you're like, "Oh, I really liked your work on this. Hey, what are you doing now?" Like it was totally fine. I think that in that circumstance, you have the white noise of fandom, I think, kind of dies down in like an HBO after party for the awards ceremony. You know, like the people that are there for a reason. It's okay now to just like let your guard down and talk about anything. And so I think that those people I think that's absolutely a fine question.
Yeah, it's helpful in a party setting like that where you can bring up things at the party themselves. You can ask if they've been to the sushi room or there was like live band karaoke happening in one of the rooms. So there was certainly like stimuli for me to point to and be like, hey, look at that. Did you see that? All right. Good conversation.
Did you see anyone there from Barry?
Yeah.
Did you meet anybody? Did you meet a guy named Duffy?
No.
Okay.
I talked to NoHo Hank.
Oh, great.
I really wanted to talk to him.
Anthony Kerrigan. That's so cool.
Yeah. And I was looking for, and I talked to the kindest man in the world, the actor who played Cristobal.
Yeah.
We were both online for drinks at the HBO party, and he saw the Emmy in my hand, and he came right up to me and said congratulations and talked about it, asked me my name, asked me what I worked on, and we're just like a sweet and normal person, and he was aware it was like, you know, I'm dead and the show's over, so I don't know if I'll be back at one of these parties again, and isn't this nice? And isn't it great to enjoy this and to be here? And it was like, yeah, man, it is.
Oh, Cristobal. Celebrate it while you can. That's so nice. What a good guy.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm very happy for you, Daniel. I'm so glad that you won again. I'm so happy that you get to go have this experience once a year where you are deeply uncomfortable, but I think you deserve it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Well, Daniel, I'm very happy for you. I think we can call it there. I think that's a good place to end. If you want to follow Daniel, you can go to DOB_Inc. He's on X. I'm not there anymore. You have to find me on Blue Sky, but it's just Soren.buoy. Quick Question is also on X at QQ_Soren and Dan. We have an Instagram, which has finally got some great videos on it of us doing our thing. It's QQ_with_Soren_and_Daniel. Just search it instead. We have a Patreon, which is Patreon/Quick Question. We have a sound engineer, editor, and producer in Gabe Harder. You will find him maybe walking down the street someday, maybe at a little boutique bagel shop, but certainly not online. Our theme song is by MeRex. You can find their music at merex.bandcamp.com, and you can see some of holy cow, you can see some of videos of Dan and I doing this podcast in the same room together and enjoying one another's company on YouTube. If you go to youtube.com/@QQpodcast. That's it. Goodbye.
Right back.
I've got a quick question for you, alright? I wanna hear your thoughts, I wanna know what's on your mind. I've got a quick question for you, alright? The answer's not important, I'm just glad that we could talk tonight. So what's your favourite? How did you get? When will I be remembered? Was it ever? Where did all the memories are? Oh, forget it. Soren, Bowie, Daniel O'Brien. Two best friends and comedy writers. If there's an answer, they're gonna find it. I think you'll have a great time here.